Hi everyone, I'm Arya from Susan's family. Today, I'll teach you how to make a Botanical Sensations series spring ripple patchwork bag. This bag consists of the front piece of the bag body, the back piece of the bag body, the bag bottom, the strap, and the strap decorations. Start by crocheting the front piece of the bag body. When crocheting the back piece, it needs to be connected to the front piece. After completing it, crochet the bag bottom and strap along the bag body. Finally, make the strap decorations. Let's start learning how to crochet the front piece of the bag. It includes crocheting and connection of motif 1 and motif 2. Edging and corner triangles. First, crochet the corresponding number of motif 1, then crochet motif 2. During this time, you need to connect the motifs, then crochet the edging along the connected motifs. Finally, crochet the corner triangles. Start by crocheting motif 1. Use the magic ring technique. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Color changes are required during crocheting. The stitches used include chain, half double crochet, and slip stitch. Below, please watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. Let's start with casting on. Take the corresponding yarn. For convenience in watching, colors are chosen randomly. For specific yarn, color schemes, and crochet hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. Start with a magic ring. This is what it looks like after completing the cast on. Move on to the first round. Crochet 2 chain stitches to start. These 2 chains count as 1/2 double crochet. Then crochet 1 chain stitch as a transition. Continue by crocheting 1/2 double crochet into the magic ring loop. One chain stitch, 1/2 double crochet, 1 chain stitch. This entire round is worked in the initial magic ring. Crochet the corresponding number of half double crochets. Separate each half double crochet with 1 chain stitch. Follow this method to complete the remaining part. Once crocheting is finished, close the magic ring. Then, on the turning chain, counting from the bottom up. On the second chain stitch, pick up the top 2 strands of the chain. Crochet 1 slip stitch. Tighten it. Leave a tail of about 5 centimeters. Cut the yarn. Set the side with clearer texture as the right side. The side with blurry texture will be the wrong side. When crocheting later, keep the right side facing yourself. Weave in the yarn tail along the wrong side's texture. After securing it firmly, trim the excess tail. Also weave in the starting tail along the wrong side's texture a few times. Trim the excess tail. This completes the first round of crocheting. Next, we'll crochet the second round. Take the corresponding color scheme yarn. The colors for the swatch are random here. Join the yarn in the chain space to the left of the beginning chain. Crochet 2 chain stitches as the beginning chain. 2 chain stitches for transition. Crochet 1/2 double crochet into the next chain space. Two chain stitches. Then continue crocheting half double crochets into each chain space from the previous round. Separate the half double crochets with 2 chain stitches intervals. Everyone can complete this round by following this method. Finally, on the beginning chain, pick up the 2 loops from the top of the chain. Crochet 1 slip stitch. Leave a yarn tail of about 5 centimeters. Cut the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail along the texture on the wrong side. This completes the second round. After completing the crocheting, measure the motif's dimensions. Compare it with the dimensions provided in the chart. If there is a significant difference, it is recommended to adjust your tension and crochet again. This completes motif 1. Use the same method to crochet all motif 1 pieces. Next, we will crochet motif 2. Start with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. You will need to change colors while crocheting. The outer edges of each motif must be joined. The new stitches used include HDC2 puff, single crochet. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crochet technique. The first 2 rounds of motif 2 are crocheted in the same way as motif 1. Everyone, follow the method I demonstrated earlier to complete it. Here, my sample is already finished. Now let's start crocheting the third round. Take out the corresponding color yarn. Join the yarn in the chain space to the left of the beginning chain. Crochet 2 chains for the turning chain. Then work 1 half double crochet. Slightly enlarge the loop while crocheting. Make sure it matches up with the height of the beginning chain. Treat the already crocheted stitches as one HDC2 puff stitch. We'll simply call it a puff stitch from now on. These 2 strands count as its stitch. Then crochet 4 chain stitches. In the same chain space, work 1 more puff stitch. Start with 2 incomplete half double crochets. Yarn over. Insert the hook into the chain space below. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. This completes 1 incomplete half double crochet. Work another incomplete half double crochet in the same stitch. Yarn over, insert. Yarn over again, draw the yarn through. Now there are 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through in once all the loops on your hook. One puff stitch is now finished. Treat the stitches in this chain space as one group. Move on to the next group. In the adjacent chain space, crochet 1 puff stitch. Four chain stitches. One puff stitch. This completes another group. Repeat this pattern for the following groups. Continue until you complete the entire round. Once finished, join with a slip stitch to the first puff stitch. Do not break the yarn at the end of this round. The third round is now completed. Next, we will work on the fourth round. While crocheting, you need to connect it to motif 1. Start by crocheting 5 single crochets in the adjacent chain space. Once done, Crochet 1 slip stitch into the left puff stitch. Treat the stitches already worked as one cluster. Move on to the next group. 5 single crochets. And 1 slip stitch. That completes another group. Continue to the next group. When working this group, you need to connect it to motif 1. Start with 2 single crochets. Then take motif 1. Place motif 1 back to back with motif 2. Insert the hook from front to back through the chain space of the front motif and any chain space of the rear motif. Work 1 single crochet. That completes the connection between motif 2 and motif 1. For all connections between motif 2 and motif 1 going down, you can follow this method. No connection is needed for the remaining part. Continue crocheting the pattern. Keep going until you complete the entire round. After completing the last stitch, stretch the loop. Leave a tail of about 10 centimeters. Cut the yarn. Pass the yarn tail through below the left stitch. Then thread it back into the braid where the tail is located. This is how you finish off. The slip stitch marks won't be visible on the surface. Finally, tuck in the yarn tail along the texture on the wrong side. That completes crocheting motif 2, and one connection with motif 1 is also completed. Next, work on crocheting and connecting the second motif 2. Everyone, refer to the pattern and crochet until the connecting position. Here, I've already finished crocheting the sample swatch. Take out the motif that was just connected. Place it right side facing up like this. The second motif needs to connect with motif 1 once. And connect twice with the first motif 2. First, let's connect it with motif 1. Work upwards from this chain space, where the connection is made. Skip 2 chain spaces. Then connect in the third chain space. The joining method is the same as the previous connection between motif 2 and motif 1. Place the motifs with their wrong sides facing each other. Insert the hook from front to back through the corresponding chain spaces of both motifs. Work 1 single crochet. The first connection between the second motif 2 and motif 1 is now complete. Next, connect it with the first motif 2. Continue crocheting the corresponding stitch pattern. Keep going until you reach one stitch before the connection point. When you reach the corresponding position, find the single crochet stitch in the middle of this cluster next to the first joining point. Insert your hook from front to back through the chain space of the front motif and the single crochet stitch of the motif at the back. Work one single crochet stitch. This completes another connection with the first motif too. Continue crocheting the corresponding stitch pattern. Keep going until you reach one stitch before the next connection point. When you get to the corresponding position, find the single crochet stitch in the middle of this group of patterns that are adjacent. Insert your hook from front to back, going through both the chain space of the front motif and the single crochet stitch of the motif at the back. Crochet one single crochet stitch. This completes another connection with the first motif too. When connecting motif 2, connect them all in this manner. No connection needed for the remaining part. Continue crocheting the pattern. Complete crocheting this round. After completing the crocheting, stretch the loop. Leave a tail of about 10 centimeters. Cut the yarn. Pass the yarn tail under the left stitch below. Then thread it back through the braid where the tail is located. Then weave in the yarn tail along the texture on the wrong side. This completes the crocheting and connection of the second motif too. Next, I will demonstrate the crocheting and connection of the third motif too. Everyone refer to the pattern and crochet up to the connection point. Here, I've already finished crocheting this swatch. This motif needs to connect once with a single motif 1. Connect once with the connected motif 1. Connect twice with the second motif 2. First, connect it with this single motif 1. After completing, continue crocheting the corresponding stitch. Crochet up to the stitch before the connection point. Once you reach the corresponding position, take the connected motif. From this connected chain space, move upwards. Skip 2 chain spaces. And connect in the 3rd chain space. Continue crocheting the corresponding stitch pattern. Crochet to the stitch before the connection point. When you reach the corresponding position, locate the second motif too. The cluster of stitches next to the joining point. The single crochet stitch in the middle. Start the connection here. After completing it, continue with the corresponding stitch pattern. Crochet up to the stitch before the connection point. Once you've reached the corresponding position, locate the adjacent group of stitches. The single crochet stitch in the middle. Work 1 single crochet stitch. This completes the connection. No connection needed for the remaining part. Continue crocheting the pattern. Complete this round of crocheting. After finishing the crocheting, stretch the loop. Leave a yarn tail of about 10 centimeters, then cut the yarn. Tuck in the yarn tail. This completes the crocheting and joining of the 3rd motif too. The crocheting and joining of the remaining motifs too will be similar to the method demonstrated earlier. Everyone, refer to the pattern and complete the crocheting and joining. Up to this point, the explanation of motif 2 and its joining is complete. Next, we will crochet the edging. Follow the motifs after they have been connected, and crochet in rounds counterclockwise. There will be a total of 3 rounds. The new stitches used include double crochet, treble crochet. Please watch the demonstration. Let's start with the first round. Take the corresponding color yarn. Locate the first motif too. On the right side of the connection position. At the 3rd group of clusters. This single crochet in the middle. Pick up the 2 strands behind the single crochet. Join the yarn. Crochet 4 chain stitches. at the cluster next to it. This single crochet in the middle. Pick the 2 strands behind the single crochet. Crochet 1 slip stitch. The oval-shaped slip stitches in the diagram do not need to be tightened. And they are all in the last round of the motif. Pick the 2 strands behind the middle single crochet of the cluster to crochet, then crochet 4 chain stitches. Crochet 1 slip stitch in the adjacent cluster. Three chain stitches. At the adjacent group of clusters, crochet 1 slip stitch. "12 chain stitches. Then move to the position of the second motif 2. Skip a group of clusters. On the adjacent motif, crochet in sequence. 1 slip stitch. Three chain stitches. 1 slip stitch. Four chain stitches. 1 slip stitch. Four chain stitches. 1 slip stitch. Three chain stitches. Later on, you can refer to the diagram. Complete the crochet of the remaining part of this round. Finally, on the group of clusters, to the left of the joining position, crochet 1 slip stitch. 3 chain stitches. Crochet 1 slip stitch at the joining position. The first round is completed. Next, crochet the second round. Start with 1 slip stitch. Move the yarn to the left chain space. Then crochet 2 chain stitches to start. Crochet 2 half double crochets in the same position. Consider the stitches you've just crocheted as one leaf. Then crochet 1 chain stitch, 2 double crochets. One treble crochet. Yarn over the hook twice. Insert the hook into the chain space below. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over. And draw through the first 2 loops on hook. Yarn over again. And draw through the next 2 loops on hook. Yarn over one more time. and draw through the 2 loops on hook. Treble crochet is completed. Continue with 3 chain stitches. Crochet 1 treble crochet into the adjacent chain space. Yarn over twice. Insert into the chain space below. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat this 3 times. Another treble crochet is completed. Crochet 2 more double crochets in the same chain space. One chain stitch. 1 leaf. One chain stitch. Crochet 1 leaf in the adjacent chain space. One chain stitch. In this large chain space, crochet 4 leaves, with 1 chain stitch as a transition between leaves. Finish with 1 chain stitch. Crochet 1 leaf in the adjacent space. One chain stitch. Crochet in the next chain space. 1 leaf. One chain stitch. 2 double crochets. One treble crochet. Later on, you can refer to the diagram. Complete the remaining part of this round. After finishing the last leaf, pick up the 2 strands of yarn above the beginning chain. Crochet 1 single crochet. Round 2 is completed. Continue with round 3. 2 chains to start. Pick up the entire single crochet. Crochet 2 half double crochets. One chain stitch. Crochet 1 leaf into the adjacent chain space. 1 chain stitch. Crochet 3 double crochets into the next chain space. Three chain stitches. 3 double crochets. In this round, crochet 3 double crochets into the chain spaces at each corner position. 3 chain stitches. 3 double crochets. For all other positions, crochet leaves into the chain spaces. Use 1 chain stitch as a transition between leaves. Everyone, follow this method. Refer to the pattern and complete this round of crocheting. After completing the last leaf, crochet 1 more chain stitch. Then slip stitch into the starting chain. Leave a yarn tail of about 5 centimeters and cut the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail along the texture on the wrong side. That completes the third round. Next, we'll crochet the corner triangles. For the sample, I'll demonstrate with any one of the corners as an example. Find the large chain space between these two motifs. In the first round of edging, at about the middle position between these 4 leaves, pick up the 2 strands of the chain stitch. Join the yarn. Crochet 5 chain stitches. Pick up the single crochet stitch at the adjacent joining position. Crochet 1 slip stitch. Chain 5. At the joining spot, crochet a slip stitch. Chain 3. On the single crochet stitch in the middle of the group of stitches on the left, crochet 1 slip stitch. Chain 3. Crochet 1 slip stitch at the joining position. Chain 4. Pick up the 2 strands behind the single crochet stitch, where it connects. Crochet 1 slip stitch. Chain 4. Join with a slip stitch at the joining position. Chain 3. On the single crochet, stitch in the middle of the group of stitches on the left. Crochet 1 slip stitch. Chain 3. Join with a slip stitch at the joining position. Chain 5. At the single crochet stitch of the adjacent joining position. Crochet 1 slip stitch. Chain 5. Crochet 1 slip stitch at the joining position. Leave a tail of about 5 centimeters. Break the yarn. Weave in the ends along the texture on the wrong side. This completes one corner triangle. For the remaining corner triangles, follow the method demonstrated earlier. Refer to the pattern and crochet it to completion. Up to this point, the explanation of the corner triangles is finished. At the same time, the entire front piece of the bag has also been explained. Next, we will crochet the back piece of the bag. The method is identical to the crocheting method for the front piece. However, when crocheting the final round of the border, you need to connect it along the short sides of the front piece, working and joining simultaneously. Here, I'll demonstrate the connection method of the front and back pieces using a sample swatch. Everyone, refer to the chart. Complete the crocheting of the second round of the edging. Next, crochet the third round. Start with 2 chain stitches. Crochet 2 half double crochets. 1 chain stitch. 1 leaf. One chain stitch. Crochet 3 double crochets into the chain space at the corner. One chain stitch. Take out the front piece of the bag. Place the front piece back to back with the back piece of the bag. Overlap the edges and corners neatly. Insert the hook into the chain space at the corner of the front piece. Crochet 1 slip stitch. This completes one connection. Continue with 1 chain stitch. Crochet 3 double crochets. Insert the hook into the corresponding chain space on the back piece. Crochet 1 slip stitch. This completes another connection. Later on, you can refer to the diagram, connect the remaining part and complete the crocheting. Up to this point, the explanation for the back piece of the bag is complete. Next, we will crochet the bag bottom. Crochet 1 round along the bottom of the connected bag body. After completing it, connect the front and back pieces at the bottom of the bag. Please see the demonstration. On the back piece of the bag, join the yarn in the chain space at the upper left corner. Crochet 3 chain stitches as the beginning chain. This will serve as the turning chain for the double crochet. Crochet 1 more double crochet in the same stitch. Crochet 2 double crochets in the adjacent chain space. In the next chain space, crochet 2 half double crochets. Then, crochet 1 chain stitch. That completes 1 leaf. Later on, you can refer to the diagram. Complete this round of crocheting. Finally, on the beginning chain, count the third chain from the bottom upwards. Pick up the 2 loops above the chain stitch and crochet 1 slip stitch. This completes the first round. Next, we'll start connecting. Crochet 2 slip stitches first. Move the yarn to the position of the first stitch of the front piece. Let's take a look. The stitches form V-shaped braids. The half stitch closer to you is called the front loop. The half stitch farther from you is called the back loop. Fold the fabric pieces so they align. Make sure the stitches correspond one by one. Pick the back loop on the right side of the hook. Place the yarn below the hook. Pick the back loop of the stitch on the left side of the hook. Crochet 1 slip stitch. Continue picking the back loop on the right side of the hook. Since this stitch is a beginning chain, you can pick one of the inner strands from the beginning chain. Slip the yarn that's closer to the inside of the slip knot. Place the yarn tail below the hook. Then pick the back loop of the stitch on the left side of the hook. Slip stitch. Continue picking corresponding stitches from both the front and back pieces, and make slip stitches. At the chain stitch position, pick one strand from the inside of the chain stitch. Slip stitch. When crocheting, be mindful not to pick the wrong stitch. This will prevent uneven connections. If it's difficult to insert the hook at the edge, you can skip connecting there. After completing the connection, leave a tail of about 5 centimeters. Break the yarn. Weave in the yarn tail along the texture on the wrong side. This completes the bottom of the bag. Next, we'll crochet the strap. It's divided into section 1 and section 2. There are two section 2 parts. First, crochet section 1 along the top of the bag body. Then, work section 2 back and forth separately. The new stitch technique used is DC2 tog. Please refer to the demonstration. Let's start with section 1. Refer to the chart. Locate the insertion position. Join the yarn. The sample swatch here is already joined. Then, make 2 chain stitches to start. Next, crochet the corresponding stitch pattern. Continue until just before the connection point of the front and back pieces. When you reach the connection point, crochet 1 double crochet into the chain space below. Crochet 1 DC2 tog. First, in the chain space below, crochet 1 incomplete double crochet, yarn over, pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. You've now completed 1 incomplete double crochet. In the adjacent chain space, make another incomplete double crochet, yarn over, draw the yarn through, yarn over again, pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. Another incomplete double crochet is now done. At this point, there are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through in once. The DC2 tog is now complete. Continue with 1 double crochet. Make 1 chain stitch. Follow the chart as you move down. Keep crocheting until just before the connection point of the front and back pieces. Once you reach the corresponding position, in the chain space below, make 1 double crochet, 1 DC2 tog. Start by making 2 incomplete double crochets. Finally, yarn over the hook, and draw through all loops on your hook. The DC2 tog is now complete. Then make 1 double crochet. Make 1 chain stitch. Everyone, continue crocheting until you finish this round. Finally, at the beginning chain, pick up the 2 strands of yarn above it. Crochet 1 single crochet. Section 1 is now complete. Next, we'll move on to section 2. Continue with the yarn from section 1. First, work row 1. Chain 2 to start. Make 1 half double crochet. Then 1 chain stitch. Follow the chart to complete this row. That's how you finish row 1. Continue working on row 2. Start with 2 chain stitches. Turn the workpiece. Work 1 half double crochet into the adjacent chain space. Then make 1 chain stitch. Continue following the chart for the rest of the row. When crocheting, you need to decrease stitches on both sides first. After reaching a certain number of rows, continue working evenly. Once one piece is completed, fasten off the yarn and weave in the ends. After completing the other piece, connect it to the last row of this strap. The joining method is similar to the one used for the bag body. Refer to the pattern and complete the remaining part of the strap. Up to this point, the explanation of the strap is complete. Finally, let's make the strap decorations. It is divided into two parts, the main part and decorative strands. Start by crocheting the main part. Then attach the main part to the proper position on the strap. Lastly, embroider the decorative strands. Begin by crocheting the main part. We will start from foundation chain. Work back and forth in rows. Please watch the demonstration. Start with a chain stitch. Cast on 15 chain stitches. That completes the cast on. Next, work row 1. Begin with 1 chain stitch as the beginning chain. Then pick up the top loop of the second chain from the hook and crochet 1 single crochet. For this row, you will only pick up the top loop of each chain stitch. Work evenly in single crochets. Continue until the end of the row. That completes the first row. Move on to work the second row. Start with 1 chain stitch as the beginning chain. Turn the workpiece. Then crochet into each stitch in sequence with single crochets. When crocheting on the wrong side, pay attention to the stitch located at the top left. Later on, you can refer to the pattern and complete the remaining part. The row numbers are for reference only. The crochet length can be adjusted according to personal preference and the amount of yarn used. Below, I'll use a swatch to teach you how to count the rows. Place the starting tail on the left side. You can see that the first row is the right side texture of single crochets. The second row is the wrong side texture of single crochets. All odd numbered rows have the right side texture of single crochets. Even numbered rows have the wrong side texture of single crochets. Since the fabric piece is worked back and forth, so between every 2 even rows of the fabric piece, there will be a more obvious crochet mark, which looks like this line here. There are 2 rows of single crochets between every 2 marks. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A total of 8 rows have been crocheted. This is the method for counting rows when crocheting back and forth. When you're actually crocheting, you can use this method to confirm the row numbers. After crocheting a certain number of rows, leave a yarn tail about 3 times the length of the side edge of the fabric piece. Break the yarn. The main part is now crocheted and completed. Next, we will attach the main part. Thread the reserved yarn tail of the main fabric piece into a sewing needle. Take out the strap. Here I'll demonstrate with a swatch. Fold the strap fabric piece in half. Then place the main fabric piece at the handle position, roughly in the middle position. Wrap around the connection point of the strap. Then use the whip stitch method. Follow along the side of the main part. Pick up and sew together the corresponding stitches on both sides. Finally, secure any excess tails tightly. This completes the installation of the main part. Lastly, embroider the decorative lines. Let's take a look at the finished product. The lines are in 2 columns like this. One column is at the connection points on both sides. The other is roughly in the middle position of the main fabric piece. The 2 lines are embroidered symmetrically. Below, I'll take the line on the connection side as an example. Please watch me demonstrate the specific embroidery method. Below, I will continue to demonstrate the embroidery method using this sample. Take out the corresponding contrasting color yarn. Cut a segment of about 50 centimeters. Thread it into the sewing needle. Tie a knot at one end of the thread. Start embroidering from the last row of the main piece. Secure the tail first. Exit the sewing needle from the second stitch, on the right side of the sewing position. Skip 2 rows. Insert into the middle position of the seam. Then exit again from the second stitch, on the left side of the sewing position in the last row. Insert into the middle position of the seam. Skip 2 rows. Exit the sewing needle from the second stitch, on the right side of the sewing position. Then insert back into the middle position of the seam. Skip 2 rows. Exit the needle from the second stitch, on the left side of the sewing position. Insert into the middle position of the seam. Then exit again from the right side sewing position. Everyone repeat this process to complete this column of embroidery. Finally, securely hide the yarn tail. This way, one column of decorative strands is embroidered. Everyone complete the other column of lines on your own. Up to this point, the explanation of the decorative strands is complete. At the same time, the entire bag has also been explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website, Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.